Hello and welcome to day 25 of our 30-day yoga therapy challenge. For today's practice, you will need something to support your head. If you're lying on your side, I like to use a block and a blanket, but you can use a pillow or whatever you have, or a bolster. And we'll also need access to a wall. So with that, let's jump right in and get started. We're going to start by coming down into constructive rest. I apologize that my head is off the video, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to see it to start. And we're just gonna settle in here. Feel your feet against the floor, back of the head, back of the shoulders. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and exhale out the mouth. And again. Taking time to settle. Noticing what you're experiencing in your body at this moment. Where is there tension? Where is there tightness, aches or pain? Where is there a sense of ease or openness or spaciousness? Recognizing that both can exist at the same time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stretch ourselves out. You might have to slide yourself back a little bit so that your feet are touching the floor, or not the floor, the wall. The balls of the feet are on the floor. There's a little gap between the heels. The heels don't need to touch. And then let your arms rest by your side. And we're going to explore a little bit of a rocking movement. So start to pulse your feet against the wall. So it's like press, release, but in rapid succession, so that you start to rock your whole body up and down. And like the rocking that we did in an earlier session, you can quietly, silently sing to yourself a little song like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or Row, Row Your Boat to help find a natural rhythm. Breathing softly. If this feels jolting or if it doesn't feel good, just skip it. And stay in constructive rest and breathe softly as you observe the sensations in your body. And if the rocking feels good, let's keep going a little bit longer. Noticing how force is moving through your body from your feet all the way up your head. You might feel some jiggle somewhere in your torso. If you feel tightness or stuckness, just notice where it is. All of these noticings or observations about what's moving, what isn't moving, where there's tension or tightness, this gives us more information about what we might be able to do to help relax or loosen up tight areas or stuck areas. And also to notice the good things, right? Like what is moving really well? What feels really good? What is supporting us? It's so easy to get stuck and zero in on the negative and focus on that, but we also need to notice the good things too. And that they can exist simultaneously. If you're still with me in the rocking, let's stay for about 30 more seconds. ready, coming back into stillness, and then just notice, what do you feel in your body, beneath your skin, in your bones, through your breath, the muscles. And then we're going to bend the knees again, bringing the feet back onto the floor. And we're going to scooch ourselves a little bit closer to the wall so that when we're ready, we'll be able to bring the feet onto the wall and the knees are directly over top of the hips. So we can just stay in constructive rest just a little bit longer. And so we're going to recap yesterday doing the core knee presses against the wall. And I'm also going to show you how to take that a little bit further for when you're ready to explore that. So when you're ready, bring one foot up onto the wall and then the other. Finding the tripod in your feet. And let's just take a few breaths and settle. Belly relaxed. Aware of your breath, easily coming in and out. And so let's do one round with the feet against the wall. So we'll bring the right hand to the right knee, and then we'll lift the foot away from the floor and press only as much as the pelvis doesn't wobble or the back spine doesn't arch around. Without extraneous tension through the neck or the shoulders. If you need to use a block, you can bring a block between your hand and your knee. And we press. And then notice which parts of the abdomen engage. Where is the work coming from? And know that you can release at any time. Let's stay for a few more breaths. And of course, if you choose to explore this on your own, you can hold it for a much longer time. But we're going to do a few rounds, so we're not going to hold it for a super long time. And then left hand to the left knee with control, taking the leg off of the wall and then pressing the knee and hand together. Easy breath. In poses like this that require a lot more strength, using our breath as a barometer can be really, really effective. So where there's breath holding or changes in the breath can be an indicator that we're maybe over-efforting. Couple more breaths. And then gently release. Now we can cross, bringing the left hand to the right knee and doing a cross press again without the pelvis wobbling. You control how much you press. And then release and switch sides. And then release. So that first sequence that we just did just now, you can repeat that, or if you're ready, we're going to try it with both feet off the wall. And to know whether you are ready or not, our body has to be able to transfer and dissipate that load. So if you let your hands rest across your abdomen and you lift one leg off and then the other, if your belly pooches up or if the low back arches, that just means that you don't quite have the connection yet to be able to manage that load. So then you just come back to your feet on the wall. That just gives you a little bit more support. So that's where you'll work. if you can take both feet away from the wall and the back doesn't arch and the belly doesn't pooch and the ribs don't poke up, if everything just kind of stays as it is when it's against the wall, then you can try the movement from here. So you can keep a little gap between your legs, or you can bring your knees together, and we'll bring both hands onto the front of both knees and then pressing the knees and the hands together. And you can use blocks between your hands and your knees if you'd like. Relaxed feet, keeping the upper body, neck and shoulders, jaw relaxed. Let your tongue float in your mouth as you breathe gently through your nose. Feel the effort in the abdomen. And again, you can release at any time or let the feet rest on the wall at any time and then come back to it. So it's a process of like resting and then coming back, and that builds up time as you get stronger. A couple more breaths if you're still with me. And then relax the arms. And let's, for today, let the feet just come to the wall. You can always keep the feet off the wall if you want to. So then when you're ready, we're going to take both legs away from the wall again. And this time the right hand, you can do right hand onto the right knee and press. And again, make sure the hips don't wobble. If there's a hip hike, if one hip kind of comes uneven, and then just come back and reset, and don't press quite as hard. So now we're requiring a little bit more effort because we have to hold both legs up while we press. And then let's switch sides, left hand to the left knee. And then let that relax. You can let the feet rest on the wall if you'd like. Take a couple breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll take the feet off the wall again if that's your option. And we'll do a cross body. So right hand to the left knee, pressing the left hand and knee together. And then when you're ready, switching sides. And then release, maybe letting the feet come to the wall and taking a little break. So I'm going to take this a little bit further and show you a couple more things you can do if you can do it without the back arching and the belly pooching up. If you find that the load is too much, just come back to one of the earlier options. So this is where I come away from the wall just a little bit, just so you have a little bit more space for your legs. But we keep that same position, knees over the hips, legs together. And then maybe you start to explore rotating the thighs side to side. So the knees stay over top of the hips, and it's the thighs that are rotating, and the lower legs are just following along. So the feet, the lower legs aren't initiating the movement. It's our hips, but the pelvis stays quiet. So it's kind of like when we did I think I did external rotation with you guys. It's kind of like that, but now we're moving both legs together. So we're doing internal and external at the same time. And notice how the abdomen responds. And then let's come back into stillness. And then maybe we try a figure eight. So the knees are moving in a figure eight position. So now I'm initiating a little bit more through the lower legs as I kind of like trace a figure eight in the air with my feet. Trying to keep the pelvis quiet, so maybe the movement is a little bit smaller. And then back to stillness. Know that you can always rest your feet against the wall at any time. Take a break. And this next one I really like because it's really, really challenging. Again, making sure the belly's not pooching. I like to just rest my hands there so I can feel what's going on. Check in with your breath. Easy breath the whole time. It's so, so important that we're not holding the breath because we don't want to brace and create a lot of tension in our system. So now what we're going to start to do, we're going to keep the angle of the leg, but we're going to start to move through the thigh, lowering the thigh so the foot becomes closer to the floor. And you're only going to go as far as your spine stays neutral and the belly stays even. And then coming back up. And then the other side, starting to lower the thigh and then coming back up. So you might find that the foot comes all the way to the floor, or maybe you just move a couple inches. Maybe it's just like little mini, kind of like bicycles, but you're doing it with control and coordination, and you're breathing. So if you're doing really big movements right now, like pare it back for a minute and just do like tiny movements and go slow. And just notice the effect that has on you. Is it more challenging? Do you have to think a little bit more, feel a little bit more? If you're doing tiny movements, what happens if you go a little bit bigger? Does it affect the spine? Does it affect the belly? Try a couple more if you're still with me. And then we'll bring both legs back up. And then maybe if it feels good, hugging both knees into the chest. And rocking side to side if it feels good. Whew. So that can be quite the workout. So you can do any combination of those things as it feels good. And that is today's practice. There were also a couple other things for strength that I wanted to share with you, and I'll do that as a bonus video because it does require a little bit of setup and it requires the block and pillow. But for sake of time, I'm going to call it there. Have fun exploring, and I look forward to joining you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.